Welcome to the High Performance Interviews. Today I am joined by Emin Mohammad, all the way from New Jersey. Welcome, Emin.
Hi, Lucy. So good to see you. Thanks for having me.
It's great to see you again. I'm really looking forward to this. So, before I ask you some questions, Emin, what I'd love to do is introduce you to our audience so that they know a little bit about your background. So, Iman
I
is a
love it.
business and technology graduate of Pace University in New York City. He is the founder and owner of Colbyco Vacation and Short-Term Rentals. With an extensive background in technology, he has spent decades developing lifelong transactional software systems for state governments and Fortune 500 companies such as Xerox Corporation, BASF, UNISYS and Liberty Travel. And he's got an extensive background, which we're going to find out more about later, in the real estate world. He originally established in 2000 Colbyco Vacation and Short-Term Rental, which transitioned into a full-time business in 2015. Initially focused on traditional residential homes, sales and rentals, the company has now evolved to specialize in full service management of vacation and short-term rental properties. eMind's commitment to detail is reflected in the structured and systematic approach applied to every home managed. So, with that, I would love to find out a little bit more about why real estate, eMind. How long has that been a passion of yours? Give us a little bit more backstory on that.
Oh, goodness. Wow. Started years ago, years ago. I got my real estate license when I was about 20 years old, 21 maybe, and I started in the rental division. And we ended up renting homes to tenants, long-term tenants. So all our homeowners were traditional long-term tenants where you give somebody a 1, 2 year lease. And that's how I got started in my 20s in the real estate business and ended up doing sales along the way. But that was my moonlighting job. That was my nighttime job. And during the day, I developed software. I graduated with technology degree from Pace University, as you mentioned, and I started programming COBOL at the time. And through the years, Java, Fortran, you name it, number of languages. But so that was my day job, and my night job was renting real estate.
Aha, okay. So that's a really early start. Is that a top tip for people? You need to start early, or can you get into that sort of thing at any time?
It's better, always better to get into something earlier rather than later, but the next best time is later. So, yeah, for me, it was really good because I was able to acquire so many years of experience moving forward to today. And so many potholes along the way. And one of the things I learned is how do you avoid those potholes? And through coaching and through experts, connecting with experts and learn the ins and outs. Because, as a kid, you hear from our elders and they say, don't do this or do that, and it depends on what type of mind you have. Is it a closed mind or an open mind or a growth mind? Kids don't listen. Like we know, but as a result, you're gonna step into those potholes along the way. So
Yeah, and they can be pretty deep, some of those these potholes when you're a youngster, can't they?
yeah.
Yeah, and I would say it's also, and I'm sure you would agree, is listening to the right elders, right? So it's getting advice from the right people who have already paved the way. And so, like you're saying, getting a coach that's done that before, that understands the market, that understands all of the dips, all of the tricks, all of the ways to go. So is that something after you fell in a few of those large potholes that you decided was actually a good idea? Did you get some coaching around that, Emin?
Well, right now, so coaching, obvious education, formal education, college education, training, along the way, learn so much. So, for example, I recently took a certification at Harvard University in Greater Boston. My branch office, although my main office is in New Jersey, my branch office is in the Greater Boston area, and I just completed a certification from Harvard University. And it's funny, some of the methods that I learned from this curriculum is just invaluable. And that's 40 years or 30 years after college. So you never stop learning. That's the thing. You never stop learning. And you made a really good point earlier. It's like listening to the right adult or the right mentor. And so in data and information, as it relates to mentors and coaches and elders, is a lot of times they sound like an expert, but they may or may not be one. So is that verifiable? And if you think about technology today, you enter a Google question or a Chat GPT question, and it gives you a response. Similarly, with an elder or a coach, is that information verifiable? So in this day and age with social media and you get all this information, is it verifiable? And should you take advice from that elder, from that coach? Because it can send you down the wrong path and you encounter deeper potholes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't want to be going into a pothole that sends you underwater, right? That's for sure.
That'd be the worst, right?
And so one of the ways I would suggest doing it is hearing testimonials of the people that have worked with that mentor or worked with that coach or gone on that program, because I know that you also now you've come a very long way in what you've been doing. You're not just doing it for yourself, but there was a transition stage from doing that for yourself and then going, I can actually help other people do this, and I can put more things together. And with your software background, of course, that can all be the real technical stuff. So what was that transition? Was it in your head first? Did you see it? What happened there, Emin?
Well, just from a high level structure standpoint, when you develop software, from a technology standpoint, it's like, don't shoot the messenger. Because what we do is we analyze human behavior and we jot down all of those specs based on that behavior, and we design and develop based on that behavior. So once something is automated, it's like, I don't like that, but that's what you do. That's the behavior. That's the sequence. And then technology is not perfect, but it does mirror human behavior. So to answer your question, when I first started and the transition happened when I was developing software during the day, I would fly around the country. I was in Colorado, Wyoming, Georgia, Tennessee. We would go around building out sophisticated systems. And we always needed furnished housing. We always needed short-term rentals or mid stays. And for example, I went to Colorado. My ex-wife and I brought a home. Went to Georgia. My ex-wife and I brought a home. And we started renting them out for ourselves. We were property managers. Our day job was developing software because she was a technologist also. And we moonlighted as property managers. So we started to learn. I'm going back to 2000. And then we started to learn about how to manage our own properties. I remember I started as a sales agent, a rental agent. And then I ended up buying properties as time went on. And then 2000, after managing our own properties for a decade and a half, we were like, you know what? I'm going to leave corporate and start doing it for myself. And so that's what happened. We started renting our homes. I started renting other homeowners' homes on their behalf, and we would represent them. And that's where we are right now. So that transition took place back in 2015. Left corporate, and I've been managing other homeowners' properties ever since.
Which I would imagine takes a weight off their shoulders.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because we have a systematic approach. We analyze, what are you working with? You have a two-family house. You made X amount last year. It's long-term. You might want to think about short-term. How much taxes did you pay? And then we design a plan around their requirements or around their goals. And then we implement it, and it's done for you. Nowadays, we're teaching other landlords how to do it themselves because I am going to retire in the next decade or so. And I want to really teach landlords how to do it themselves. And my company is still great. It's still done for you, but we handle the greater Boston area and the New Jersey, New York area. We don't really manage homes in Southern California or in Canada, other parts of the world, but we can teach landlords how to do it themselves using our approach of analysis, design, and implementation as it relates to their rental property.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, so that is you're expanding, you're scaling, and you're helping others along the way, which is always, I'm all about helping other people along the way. It's as much as you can do. And then you've learned all of this stuff, and it's like, for a while, it's okay just to do it yourself. But there comes a point, and it sounds like it came to you and it came to me. It's like, I know all of this stuff, which is fine for me, but why don't I just share it? And when you share it, it just lifts you up, it lifts other people up, and all ships rise with the rising tide. And so how does that feel to you, seeing people succeed because of your training and your help and your system, Emin?
Oh my God, it's so rewarding. Just seeing the face of my landlords. Wow. I had long-term tenants in here, and I was talking to a long-term homeowner yesterday, and he was saying he went to one of the big real estate brokers, and he rented his house, and he thought it was a great tenant. Well, after about several months, they stopped paying, or they would pay partially their rent. So the rent was 2,000. They would go, oh, I only have 1,400 this month. So not only is he not getting his rent in full, he was complaining about how he's always late, and he was complaining about how I love my house and I can't get inside because that person has been there for forever, anchored to the house. Well, I said, if you had spoken with us, we would have transitioned or transformed your property from that model, long term, which has been going on since the beginning of time, traditional rentals. You buy a house, investment property, you get a tenant in there, and you don't see your house for 2 or 3 years, 4 years, depending on how long the lease is.
Yeah.
And then you see the after, where not only are you doubling your rental income at least, you also have access to that house. So if it's only rented, let's say a third of the month, you're still breaking even as far as when you're comparing rental rates. It only needs to be rented a third of the time. What happens to 2/3 of the time? Well, you can use it for family. You can also push your marketing and get more people in there, make even more money. And so just the before and after, the flexibility. I mean, when you transform your houses to a short-term rental or Airbnb, they call them these days, it's always guest ready. So the beds are always made. You don't see dust, no hair. The house is cleaner than your own house. So just the before and after. Long-term tenants, you don't know what the maintenance is like inside.
Mm.
You know what the rents are always late. And then after, beautiful home, it's guest ready, you're making money, you have access to it. Anyways, I love seeing the faces and the reactions and the before and after. It's just very vivid.
That's fun. I love it, because I was going to ask you, do you have a recent story? Which obviously is a very recent story because you only spoke to him yesterday. So that's phenomenal. Okay, and I'm sure you have loads more stories like that. So
Oh,
let's go a little bit deeper on you and how you, because it sounds like you put a lot of time in, and I know you have summits, yearly summits. Is that right, Iman? That you put on a yearly summit, which is like over a long weekend, and there's one now. If our audience misses it, because it's 19th, 20th, 21st, right? Is that right?
yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, is there any way that they can review that summit or get in and get some recordings? Is that going to be a link that we can put below here if somebody's interested in finding out more?
Yeah, for sure. If they missed the live, which is free, the summit is called Transform Your Rental Property 2024. And I gave you an illustration of a before and after scenario. And that's what we're talking about during the summit before. And we're talking about how to transform your rental property. So what does it take to transform a rental property? Really three key areas. And it's the same with software. I'm sure it's the same when you build houses. Do an analysis, design based on that analysis result, and then implement based on that design. So we're going to talk about during the 3 days. Day one is going to be analysis as it relates to short-term rentals or rentals. Day two is going to be about design, and day three is going to be implementation. Implementation, if you think about tech, what tech are you going to use? Data, because you're going to get a lot of data, guest information, email addresses, so forth, so on. So if you miss it, you will have the opportunity, and Lucy, I'll make sure I share the link with you. You can always get the recordings, and we have something called VIP, and that's with the live audience. They'll have the ability to get recordings for later if they miss some of the segments. And you also have the opportunity to get VIP. And although you won't see it live, you will be able to get the recordings.
Great. So we'll be able to put that link below here. So if you've missed it, don't think you've missed it. You can dive in below here and find out the details. And then what I wanted to get round to was, I know that you're a very busy man. You do lots. I know you have work with a team as well, but that also is still hard work, because if you've got a team, you've got to make sure that they're doing all the right things and they're doing their jobs right. So what do you do personally to recover, to relax? What's your thing, Iman?
What's my thing besides work? Well, I enjoy sports. I'm a former athlete. I got an athletic scholarship to college, and I was one of the leading scorers in the country in U.S. And so I still enjoy sports. I love going to games, whether it's basketball, high school level, college level, professional, obviously. Love going to sports. I love reading tech documents and technical stuff. I enjoy that. I do that during downtime. And spending time with my kid. My daughter's an actress. She's graduated from the University of California. And just my family, my friends, and just hanging out with them during downtime.
Yeah, that sounds very wonderful, actually. Family time, reading time, watching a bit of sports. So you don't play sports anymore? Do you do any sort of active recovery where you're
Yeah, I work out. When I have a chance, I work out at least, 3 times a week. And so I still stay at, I don't play anymore. I tore my knees up right after college. I was supposed to play professionally in Europe, but then I had patella tendon surgery because I tore them up trying to dunk on somebody. So that was a problem.
Mm,
Kind of had to retire early. But thank God I had technology as a backup. So
So it's something that I feel is really important. Whatever you're doing in life, it's really important to stay healthy, have some downtime, refresh your mind, recharge your batteries. So even if somebody is going, but for yourself especially, because you were full-time job and you were moonlighting, right? Having those downtimes, having that rest time, do you think that that is really important for people generally?
oh my God, it's so important. And in today's fast moving pace, how do you take advantage of downtime? Did you have an opportunity to take advantage of downtime? And so how do you optimize whatever you're doing, streamline however you're doing? And my answer to that is define what you do, have processes in place, have systems in place, have tech to back you up.
Mm.
Because even if tech is not supporting your personal life, if it's supporting your business life, and in this case, your rental business life, you know, a lot of hard work is taken off your hands and let systems take care of it. Then you have more time to chill and relax,
Yeah,
spend time the way you want.
yeah. And you've got the best systems, haven't you, for that?
Of course I do. You have to say what you do and then do what you say. So build those policies, build those processes, and then chill out.
Yeah, fantastic. I love that. I love that. So if somebody's looking at this and they're thinking, oh, I've not really thought about that before, or I have thought about it, but I've never done anything about it. I've never stepped into the market in that way and rented out a home and short-term rental. That sounds exciting. And I'd still be able to get into my home and make sure it was all looking pristine. What would you say their first step should be, Iman?
Their first step should really sit down and really study where the heck they are. Lay the groundwork. What type of home you have? What area are you in? How much money did you make last year on that particular investment property?
But
Really sit down.
if they don't have an investment property ready and they're just thinking they might, what are the
Oh,
steps?
same
Yeah.
thing. I don't have it, but I would like a two-family home or a single-family home in this area. What's in that area? So if you're a landlord, you're aspiring landlord, you really could still go through the same process. The variables, the actual information inside that structure will be different. For example, I have a home versus I don't have a home. And so it takes a little bit more vision and goal setting. And Lucy, I know you're great at goal setting. And so with that vision and goal setting, just make sure if you're going to start off, make sure you do the analysis, do your due diligence, make sure you forecast in the future, because you may buy a house and say, hey, I don't want a rental property, but you don't know what's going on 6, 7 years down the road. You might say, hey, I want a larger house. What do I do with this house? And so once you do that analysis, you make sure you future cast a little bit
Mm.
because it really could be so impactful in a negative way. Just to give you one example, a family member brought up property. Oh, this is the perfect property. Price is right. I want to get it. I really want it. I don't want it as a rental. I'm going to live there. So fast forward several years, it's been about 6 or 7 years now. You know what? I think I want to buy a new house, and I want to rent this house out and just transform it into a investment property. But she didn't do her homework at the beginning as extensively as she should have done. And as a result, she looked at her bylaws and her association bylaws, and they said, no, you can't, you can only rent it a certain way. You can
Oh,
only make changes a certain way. But had you done that homework up front, you really wouldn't have ran into that problem. And that's why coaching is so important because it'll help you set that baseline. And
so
so I would recommend do the analysis first. If you can't call Colbyco, if you can't get in touch with us, do it yourself. Just make sure you do that, and everything will flow off that analysis.
yeah. And I was going to say, so if somebody's like, I'm really not sure how to do that, they can call you, can't they? They can speak with you. They can get your advice, your coaching, your years of experience, which will be fantastic. Okay. Any other points you would like to leave our audience with, Iman, before we head off here?
Oh, well, I would just say our North Star, my company's North Star is continuous improvement. What is your continual improvement plan? And there's a difference, I think there's a slight difference between continual improvement and continuous improvement. Continual improvement is really setting a fixed improvement plan. Continuous is just nonstop continuous improvement. But if you build a continual improvement plan based on your baseline and where you want to go, you can execute that plan and really make whatever you are better, whether it's your health, whether it is wealth. What is your continual improvement plan? And we can help you with that if you need more insight. You can reach out to us. You can email me personally, mine at colbycoco.com, or you can visit our website, or you can really, you should go to the summit because you'll not only be exposed to what you need to do. I guarantee if you go to the summit or if you VIP, I guarantee after the 3 days, you will learn at least 15 new things that you didn't know. I guarantee that.
Mm, Well, I'm looking forward to it. Fantastic. So thank you so much. This has been absolutely awesome. It's been wonderful spending this time with you. I'm sure our audience has got a ton of information and they're going, oh, maybe this is the thing for me if they don't already do it. And if they do already do it, it's like, I need to learn more. I need to have that continual improvement plan. So fantastic. Thank you so much, Iman. Thank you so much to our audience for your time, your energy, and your attention. There will be another video showing up on screen, so I'll see you over there. In the meantime, take a look at that description box, get in touch with Iman, and do yourself a favor. Take care. Bye for now.